Let's get cracking. It's time to start a new painting. Well, I've actually already started, but I'm not too far ahead, so join me and follow along. What I'm doing at the moment is just starting out with a turpentine wash of oils. As you can see, I've already done the outlines. I initially gridded up the image and then transferred that by hand to the canvas. I'm using pastel pencil, not a graphite pencil. You don't ever use a graphite pencil. Why? Because the graphite doesn't bond with anything. In fact, in industrial uses, graphite is a lubricant, so that can actually cause problems with your oil painting. But with the pastel, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, the oils will actually move it and it pretty much will disappear. Sometimes it blends in a little bit, but you know, with the latter layers you won't see any of it. So pastel pencils or Conte pencils are a really good option. Whatever colour is up to you, depends on what colour theme you're going to use for the painting. Generally something pretty neutral is pretty good. Same way in which with the with this underpainting here, I generally pick a neutral earth colour. So this is Van Dyke Brown. It's still warm, but in other circumstances it could also be treated as a cooler colour. So it's reasonably neutral, and it's not so neutral as just using a straight out grey either. I quite like it. But you know, every once in a while I'll mix it up and I'll use a different brown to start out. Using a larger brush for a change to fill in the space rather than wasting time with a smaller brush like I did in the corner here. So with that amount of turpentine, that makes quite a stink in the studio, and I'm going to leave this sit for a little while. I'm going to scrub in some of the other sort of shadows. Now of course this is all really rough to start with. But that's the way it's supposed to go, is that the painting is refined as you go along. And if you start it off rough, it also gives you an opportunity to find some expression in the work. You know, kick the painting off with some character. I've tried other painting techniques where the underpainting is you know, almost a finished painting in itself, very finely rendered, and For me, painting like that, the paintings tend to lose a lot of character. They end up being a little bit sterile. But if I start out with something that's rougher, and it's got more character to it. As you can see, I'm not being particularly fussy about things. So I'm looking at my reference image over there on the computer. Could print this out, but it saves me time just working off the computer screen. Plus, I can zoom in and out on it. I have seen people with setups where they've got you know, a tablet set up on a mount right next to the canvas, so they can sort of just with their fingers zoom in and out and pan across. Nice idea. Maybe one day I'll splash out and do a similar thing for myself, but at the moment, with the computer so close by, no need. Seeing as the background is so dark, and the shadow here is quite dark, may as well paint it in. So when I'm done with this in a few minutes, I'll be hanging this outside so I can have some fresh air. It won't take too long for this to be dry enough for me to paint over it, but it does require a little bit of time, otherwise it will move a bit. But generally it's so I can sort of get on with other projects. So I'm doing this really as a starter, as an intermediary. Oh, it's a bit too heavy there. That's the beauty too with the turpentine, it's very easy, well it's not too much effort to take it off. Mind you, it does dry pretty quick. See, now I'm starting to get it too fiddly here because I'm paying too much attention to detail, and I really should. So that's it. Clean your brushes. One of my regular sins is not cleaning my brushes. I have wasted so much money on brushes that I have abused through neglect. there we go. Let it dry and ready for the next stage.